Will, thanks very much. Now let's get more on the International Olympic Committee President Jacques Rogge asking the Russian government for further clarifications on its anti-gay legislation before the IOC issues its final judgment on the matter. He also reiterated the IOC's commitment to making the Olympic Games free of all discrimination. Well, Peter Tatchell Foundation campaigns for human rights, and he's also a veteran campaigner for gay rights. He joins us in the studio now. Welcome, thanks for coming in. First of all, what do you make of this row?
Well, firstly, the context is that Russia has started to go backwards in terms of the human rights of its gay citizens. It's passed a new law that effectively means that any public manifestation of gay identity or expression of gay affection, just holding hands, for example, and certainly any advocacy of gay human rights is now illegal. It's also coinciding with a wave of horrendous homophobic violence where gay people are being kidnapped off the street, tortured, and sometimes even killed. And this is happening with the virtual impunity because the city police in the cities around Moscow and other cities, they are not taking action. They're not tracking down and bringing the perpetrators to justice.
You say it's going backwards. How far forwards did it get, if you like?
Well, homosexuality was decriminalised in Russia in 1993, repealing the Stalin-era law that made same-sex relations illegal. And there was a brief period of 4 or 5 years where gay people did have a much greater degree of acceptance within Russian society. But with the rise of nationalism and extreme nationalism and the rise of far-right movements in Russia, they seem to have singled out homosexuality and gay people as targets, demonising them in a way in which other tyrants and repressive regimes have often demonised Jewish people or others.
And given what you said, and given the way it is moving backwards, you say, do you think that the Winter Olympics should be boycotted?
I think it's a really difficult question. Russian gay and lesbian groups are at the moment, most are opposed to any boycott because they say if that happens, it will just turn public opinion further against them and increase the level of homophobia. They're saying that athletes and spectators should go to the Sochi Winter Olympics and be visibly gay, you know, wear rainbow flags and buttons, you know, make public statements, express their identity. But of course, in doing that, there are huge risks. The police in Sochi will not protect gay spectators and athletes from violent attacks. And you can be sure that neo-Nazis and ultranationalists will descend on Sochi during the Olympics to target suspected gay and lesbian people.
So how sensible is it to encourage people to go there and do that then?
Well, it is a risk and people have to make their own choice, but I think that is probably the best of the options, to go there and defy the law. You know, Claire Balding is going to present BBC's coverage from Sochi. She is openly lesbian. She's in a civil partnership. It'd be great if she was able to make a clear statement of her opposition to this wave of homophobic violence and these attacks upon gay rights with these new repressive laws. So public figures can play a very important role.
Is it right that the International Olympic Committee decided to have the Winter Olympics there in the first place, given Russia's record on this?
Well, of course, it's not just Russia's record on gay rights. The attacks on gay people in legislation and in terms of mob violence is part of a much wider, broader repression against civil society groups and minorities. You know, we've got to see this in the context, and I think that certainly this new law against expressions of gay identity did not exist at the time when Russia was granted the Winter Olympics, but obviously now it does exist, and this violence is existing. So I think the International Olympic Committee is quite right to demand much stronger guarantees from the Russian government. And right now, I don't believe those guarantees are sufficient, because we know in cities across Russia, the police do not protect gay people or people suspected of being gay. Many of the victims of this mob violence, there's actually no evidence that they are gay. They're just suspected of being gay, and some of them have been, you know, beaten and hospitalised. And it's really, really shocking. It isn't an isolated incident. It's happening all across Russia.
We'll leave it there. Peter Tatchell, thanks very much.
More than 1,500 people have been forced from their homes by